Hello, welcome to Garibaldi Red. Can't put into words what last night meant to Nottingham Forest, those of us who were there, what it means personally to everyone who's watching, listening to this now. It was mental agony, it was total joy. The long and short of it is Nottingham Forest banished the memories of 2003, 2008, 2010, 2011 by beating Sheffield United on penalties. We're going to Wembley, play Huddersfield, and hopefully beat them and to discuss the whole beautiful but sometimes agonising night. I'm joined first of all by Forza Garibaldi's Greg Mitchell. Hello, Greg. How are you?
Cloud 9.
9. And our second guest is Forest fan Mikey Clarke. Morning, Mikey. How are you doing?
Morning, Matt. Yeah, I'm good. I'm really tired, but it was worth it, definitely.
Yes, first question. Well, I got to sleep at like 1:30, I think, in the end, maybe 2 o'clock. What about you, Greg? You were probably up to sleep. Have you slept at all, actually?
I woke up in my shorts and Forest shirt on the sofa at about 5:30. I tried to watch the full game again and it just didn't work. So
the full game, good effort. I watched the highlights when I got in. Well, I watched the Sky Sports football, tweets they put out with the best bits, but I need to watch the whole game again. I need to watch that shootout again. Mikey, you were up at 6 or something mad, weren't you?
I was, yeah. I'm sure I slept. I can't remember, probably. I didn't. I certainly slept in my bed on my settee. It was just an incredible night. I did manage to watch a little bit this morning in between some work meetings, and you watch it with a clear head now. At the time, I was a wreck. I'll be honest with you, I was an absolute wreck. So it'd be interesting to discuss and see what you guys thought. But I completely lost it in that extra time period. I was a mess.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the press box, and there's an unspoken rule, or maybe it's a spoken rule, that you don't celebrate goals, you don't get into the game. So the first goal, when Brennan scored, I let out kind of a silent scream, if that's a thing, where like the noise didn't come out my mouth, but I celebrate the goal. It was weird. And then the Sheffield United goals go in, and I'm no emotion, that's fine. But the penalties, I couldn't keep it together. It was like 20 years of emotion just built up. It was, I'd be something wrong with me if I didn't celebrate those goals. So the celebrations, the saves, and the Steve Cook's penalty, and we'll come on to that. I love that. Couldn't contain myself. Greg, I think you're the biggest Forest fan I know. No offense, Mikey. What was it like for you?
That first goal celebration, the best experience I've ever had at the City Ground. That was just carnage, the emotion and the relief, thinking we were a little bit more than halfway there then, how wrong we were. But just looking up at the ground after, and it was just incredible, like etched in my mind forever now. Just beautiful. And even when backs against the wall, not playing very well, I think it was like early 70th minute or 60 odd minutes, and the whole ground just on their feet, just trying to get them. Oh, it's just emotional, wasn't it? Because there was a point in the game where I just thought, this club is cursed. We're just never, ever going to get it. And I genuinely thought, like, that's it. It's over. And God, the way the crowd got behind him, and just beautiful, wasn't it? Just brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you try not to think about Bramall Lane, and you try not to. I mean, journalists love a narrative. I know I do. But when it's 3-1, you get pegged back to 3-3, that mirror image of 2003, and it goes to extra time, and it goes to penalties. You just fear the worst. I mean, I know Fotheringham has this good penalty record, and he's saved from Brennan at Bramall Lane. So, I mean, be honest, Greg, did you think they were going to win that shootout?
I was, and this is honest, this is pure honesty. I was so relieved it got to penalties, and suddenly I'd become a little bit more calm. Like, I had the people next to me, I'd not stopped moving the whole game, just constantly like on edge. And the penalties were a relief, because it looked like, I mean, Samba's save towards the end of extra time, just ridiculous. And I thought, we're there now. We've somehow managed to get to this. And there's just like this calmness over me. And I thought they were going to miss the first 3. I thought it just bang, bang, like best goalkeeping performance I've ever seen. It's not even a question now. And no, it was such a weird experience, that penalty bit, especially when we won. I think I just stood there, just amazing.
What about you, Mikey? Your friends are texting a WhatsApp group worrying, saying you were ultra confident going into the game. I don't know if that's overrating the pudding or not, but did you think they were going to win that shootout?
No, I was ultra confident. I'll be honest with you. I said to my mates in the pub, don't worry about it. We're the better team. We're better all over the pitch. We've got a 1-goal head start. We're at home in front of 30,000 fans. This team is not scarred by previous failure at this level. We'll be fine. And then when we went 1-0 up, I was dead relaxed. I don't know what happened in the second half. I'm sure we'll talk about it. But I'm with Greg. Somehow I thought we were kind of the better team in extra time, but obviously they had a ridiculous chance near the end, about 5 minutes to go, that Samba somehow saved. And I was relieved it got to penalties, if I'm honest. And I had an inkling that Samba was going to come up big because he just made a huge save. He made a couple of great saves during the 120 minutes. And you know, when it's just somebody's night and you just have a feeling that he's up for this. This is, you know, Samba thrives on pressure like this. So I was confident going into the shootout. Not so confident in the second half or extra time, I'll be honest with you. But when it got to penalties, I thought we'd win. I'll be honest with you. And, you know, I think I'm a bit like Greg. I was surprised when they scored their third, to be honest with you. I thought he'd save it. But no, just a wonderful night. And I'm still on a high, if I'm being honest. I just need to calm down a little bit. My nerves are still right up there. But no, it was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
We must talk about Samba in a bit more depth. I mean, he's etched his name into Forest history, hasn't he? That it's not just the penalties. It's easy to forget that save 12 minutes in from, I think it was NDI, if I'm saying that right. Sometimes it's just written in the stars. I don't actually like that phrase. But sometimes maybe it is meant to be. And he does love the limelight, I think Cooper said afterwards. If you need a man for that occasion, Greg, I mean, it's Brief Samba, isn't it?
His arms of steel, they were just solid, weren't they? And there was one point, I can't remember, some point in the second half where their players were clearly trying to wind him up and he'd got the ball in his hands and, oh God, flashbacks to when he got sent off here and he controlled it straight away. Didn't even bother entertaining him. And I thought, that's it. That's like our keeper. And then just save after save. I mean, one of the highlight shows last night just put a reel up of all his saves, the 3 penalty saves and 3 absolute worldies, and he more than kept us in that game. He won us that game. And even when you watch some of his saves back now, the nerves come back because you think, oh no, they're going to score. It was just the best goalkeeping performance I've ever seen. Like, it genuinely was, and he deserves it.
Yeah, that save after, looking back tonight, the time becomes a blur, but I think it was 115 minutes.
Yeah.
That was like Schmeichel-esque, Mikey, wasn't it? Like, you just got to make yourself big, and you do need a bit of luck, but he certainly earned it, didn't he?
Yeah, he came and closed the gap really quickly. I watched it again this morning. I think it's a flick on, and I think Zendaya gets just in behind Cook and Spence, I think. But he's there in a flash, chucking himself at it. I think he gets his foot on it or something. Whatever he did, he kept it out, which is the key thing. And I think from that point, I think I said to my wife in the ground, you know, he's up for something special here, the goalkeeper. Saves like that, the small margins, as a fine margin, should I say, as the next manager used to say of ours, are the difference at this level when it gets to such a game of tension and pressure. You know, you stop doing the basic things, you stop doing them well, and it needs players to step up, whether it's Johnson, whether it's Samba in goal, whether it's Steve Cook blasting home a penalty. It's just those little things that get you over the line. And I think the Sky commentator said it afterwards as well. It doesn't really matter how you play. It's being in that Wembley final. That's the key. And now that we're there, we have to dust ourselves down. We have to regroup, and we have to go and win it, because Wembley is not the place for it at all. So we've got to go there, put on a show. We're the better team. We'll be favourites, probably quite rightly. But Huddersfield are a really tasty outfit. Their set pieces are excellent. They've got some really good players. But I fancy us. You know, I really do. And like I said, Wembley is not the place to lose. So let's go there and do it and get over the line again. Couple of big performances again. I'm ultra confident, like I was yesterday. So fingers crossed we'll do it. No, it's just a really special night, and the season keeps going on and on and on. And if we thought when we were bottom of the league after 6-7 games, can you imagine us having this conversation? That's absolutely crazy. So we've done remarkably well to get to this point. Just got to get over the line now. And that experience last night, will stand them in good stead. I think Cooper said you need a bit of everything to get through a playoff game. You need to suffer, which I thought was an interesting choice of word. And we certainly suffered. What suffered last night? The players suffered. But we got over the line, and that's the key thing. So one more to go, Matt. One big game to go.
Yeah, non-stop suffering. From the moment the first ball was kicked to the second half, to be fair. We'll come back to the game in whole, but I wanted to finish on the penalties. I mean, you've got to give a mention to all the Forest players who stepped up, Joe Lolly included. You've got to have some nerve to do it. I mean, Brennan's penalty, Cafu's penalty, Cook's penalty, they were brilliant. What did you make of it, Greg? I mean, it's unlucky for Joe Lolly, isn't it? Someone's
got to
be brave to step up, haven't you?
When he came on, he made such a difference. Him and Davies did. They made such a massive difference. Sheffield United were really starting to snowball and try and control this game, and they came on. It changed it. It changed everything. So, I mean, the Joe Lolly miss, he just tried to whack it, didn't he? And we love players like that. Pearce's best penalties were like that. It's not always going to work. And maybe because we had such a lead, maybe he just thought he could give it a go, just smack it and be the hero. So it didn't work this time. And I'm sure, God forbid, if we get penalties at Wembley, it'll be a different thing. I was really surprised that Garner came off. I thought it'd be our number one set piece, but it worked because Cafu scored, didn't he? But yeah, it's just mad. It's just really mad looking back at that night. Just ridiculous.
I think Garner's legs had gone. He took a corner after about 70 minutes, and I'm not sure he kicked. He kicked it like a 10-year-old trying to kick it as far as he could. So I think he was done by that point. But yeah, fair play to Cafu in off the post. I love Cook's celebration. It reminded me of Pearce at Euro '96. He's going to be a cult hero, isn't he, if he stays around long enough, Mikey?
I think so. Really like him. I knew after the first 30 minutes of his debut, he's exactly what we needed. So I think if we cast our mind back to the January window where we're looking at up-and-coming players, and we've got a few in on loan, and Surridge, obviously, a young lad, getting in experience at centre-back was crucial, especially with the formation that Steve Cooper likes to play, that back three. Having Cook in the centre, he just slotted in there nicely, and he's been a rock. Fantastic with him and McKenna and Worrell. And yes, that penalty celebration was lovely. Saw it again this morning. So he did the big fist pump to the Bridgeford end, and also to the A block as well. That went down very, very nicely. No, but he's been a wonderful addition. I think, did we get him on a free transfer or something? I don't know whether we paid a lot of money. Yeah, whatever we paid, it was worth it.
Yeah, true. I just flashed up a comment on the screen by mistake. I was banning the user if anyone saw it and deleting the comment. If anyone read it, so that's why. It was ridiculous.
Too quick for me.
Oh, good. Okay. When people watch it back, they'll read it was a stupid comment. We are live and getting loads of comments. I'm trying to keep up with them, but maybe as it slows down, I'll flash them up. But yeah, it's great we're getting so many comments, so thanks for that. Right. I think we should get into the game, probably. Greg, well done. Forza pulled another worldie out there with that. What do you want to say about it, if anything? Does he get a bit blasé talking about how great you are?
It's not me, is it? Yeah, there's some pretty impressive people behind like the design and stuff of it all Forest fans, all at the game all the time. But it was a stressful one yesterday. We had some last minute issues, and I had to take a trip over to Culverton to EcoPrint who help us with all the banners, and it was really touch and go at one point. But on I forget what day it is. On Monday night, there was about 20 of us down the ground. And we always say, if anyone ever wants to help, if we do another one, they've got to contact us and we'll let them know. Obviously, we don't like to tell people there's a display or it ruins some of the enjoyment and surprise of it. But yeah, it was great. The Trenton were brilliant again. And these banners, they're not light. So when they're going over some of these people, it can be a bit of a pain, and no one ever moans. They always seem happy with them. And luckily we won again, didn't it? So it'll be remembered for all the right reasons.
True. And Forest got off to a great start. Well, after Sambro made that brilliant save, they take the lead through Brennan Johnson. I didn't think it was Surridge's night, but it was a great cross in, Mikey, wasn't it? And Brennan's really got a knack of that sliding finish that Forest play for, that low cross so well, don't they?
Yeah, the ball in the channels killed Sheffield United in both games. So if you think about the amount of chances that we created in that first game, a lot came through Zinkenagel's movement to take some of their defenders away, and then a ball in the channel. And Surridge's movement is excellent. And we saw it last night. So ball to McKenna, down the line, Surridge pulls off, pulls it across. Brennan makes that last late run in and tucks it away. I guess that's why he was starting against them. So Cooper obviously saw a bit of a weakness. Sheffield United aren't the quickest at the back. So Surridge's movement, and obviously with Davies coming back from injury, he might not have been ready to start the game. But it certainly worked to our advantage. I didn't think it was necessarily his night. Yeah, I think you're right there, Matt. But like I said, his movement causes teams problems. And the way we transition quickly from defence to attack, Surridge is perfect for us, dragging those defenders out. And I think they played 5 at the back because I kept looking at their shape and they seemed to sort of flick it occasionally as they were chasing the game. But certainly when Surridge was on in the first half, he did cause them all sorts of problems. But can I just shout out Keenan Davies as well? There was a point, I think it was an extra time, where he picked it up, I think in his own penalty box or something, and he ran in. He must have beat 4 or 5 players, just shrugging him off, brushing him off. And I think he won a free kick. That's unbelievable. And the amount of pressure that we were under at points of that game, to have players who can do that. So Surridge who can run the line, make those channel runs, and his delivery is good and his finishing is great. Keenan to come on to hold the ball up, to bully defenders that are already knackered, and both teams were knackered. It's brilliant that we have those sort of options. And I think on a big Wembley pitch, don't know whether you agree, guys, but that could be the difference between us getting through and not, I think.
Well, I mean, I don't know about you, Greg. If Keenan Davies doesn't come on the pitch, then I don't think Forest win the game, do they? He was just unbelievable when he came.
Agree. His strength, his confidence to keep the ball in like dangerous attacking areas for Sheffield United, it was just brilliant. He walked it up the pitch. There's 3 or 4 of them like just attacking his legs, and he's got that ball 40, 50 yards down the pitch without having to hoof it. As soon as we got him, every game he's played, he's done a brilliant job. And he's got 11 days to get fully fit. And I think he'll start. But if he doesn't, what an impact he has when he comes on. Like Mikey said, to defenders that are already shattered, let's hope it's a nice hot day at Wembley and we can really tire them out. But I just want a few days of not feeling nervous, to be honest. So like 3 or 4 days off without thinking about it. But that guy gives me so much confidence, either when he comes on or if you see him on that starting lineup. He has just been superb for us.
Yeah, I'd start him. He's useful either way. We saw last night what he can do, but I think maybe Surridge coming off the bench can just exploit tired minds with that clever bit of movement. Because, I think Davies would have come on earlier if he was fitter. Forest were well under the cosh. What do you think, Mikey, about starting? Who starts at Wembley?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you both just said. I would start him at Wembley. I'd have started him last night as well, to be perfectly honest with you, and given him sort of 60 minutes. But as it transpired, he had extra time anyway. So he has got a bit of minutes in his legs. And Greg is absolutely spot on. We've got a week and a half now for our team to recover mentally and physically and get ready for that final. So I think Keenan Davies on that big Wembley pitch will be a huge asset. Now, Huddersfield defend really, really well. For anybody that's watched them, they're very organised, they're very structured. They play a little bit like we did under Lamucci. So they're not really bothered about having the ball. They'll sit back, they've got a really good shape, they're very good at set pieces, and they're very clinical when they get an opportunity. So I expect us to have quite a lot of the ball. So I'm with you, Matt. I think if you start Davies, you have 60% possession, you bully them with about half an hour to go. Sam Surridge and his movement, especially if they have to come out a little bit, would be absolutely perfect. So that's the way I go. But then again, there's there's an argument to say, Surridge, what's he done wrong? You know, he's been brilliant since he's got in the team. He set up a goal last night. That's why I'm not a manager. I wouldn't want to have that conversation, but great options to have, isn't it? You know, I remember a time when we didn't have any options, but now, you know, we're talking about the pros and cons of who to start, and you know, there's right and wrongs on both sides. But I think Keenan Davies on that big Wembley pitch could be the difference, definitely.
Was he the fifth penalty taker, do you think? I don't know who it was. Would you guess it was him?
Yeah. Do you know what? I had the same conversation on the way home. I think my wife said it might have been Colback.
I thought.
Yeah, Colback or Davies, one of the two. It'd be interesting if we can find that out, actually. But they probably won't release it.
Hopefully not find it.
Would you have backed that fifth player to score? The pressure must have been unbearable. Greg, would you have had him scoring?
Yeah, I would. Weirdly, we were having the conversation in the pub, and I didn't even think of Davies, of course, but I said that Colback or Spence. But I don't want to know who the fifth penalty taker is, because we might have to find out at Wembley.
I don't think I could have coped if it had gone to that fifth penalty, and God forbid they'd missed. I mean, oh my God. But they didn't. So yeah, it all worked out well in the end. I want to scoot back. I mean, I don't remember much else about the first half apart from the Hecking Bottom incident with Jed. I didn't know what had happened, but I watched it back. I don't think he's won many friends over the two legs, unless you're a Sheffield United fan, has he, Mikey?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, no, I don't think so. It's petulant. I don't know what he was doing, to be honest with you. I saw it this morning. I was on the other side of the ground, so I just saw a load of players sort of run, and I thought something's happened. I didn't necessarily see at the time, but looking back, there's just no need for that. And I didn't particularly appreciate his comments after the first game, to be honest with you. I think they were more aimed at his own players, as in, don't give up. You know, saying, you know, the fans are going to be nervous and Forest will sit back, and absolute rubbish. You know, has he ever watched us? Well, when do we ever do that? You know, we're very clinical on the transition, but I don't think we deliberately have a low block all the time at home. It just doesn't happen. So it's mind games, of course, and I suppose you have to expect that at this stage of the season. But no, I wasn't too impressed with that. And I also watched his interview after last night as well. I thought that was interesting. He came across as a little bit more humble, and he obviously praised his players because they were excellent second half. But there were a few comments thrown in there which just left a bit of taste in my mouth, to be honest with you. There's just no need for that. And I know, you know, there has to be a winner, there has to be a loser, and people are hurting after that. You know, we've been through it enough. But I'd like to think we act with a little bit more class, as you know, as a fan base and as a team, as a city. I just, you know, he's representing Sheffield. I didn't care for it too much. Do you agree, Greg, or am I being a bit harsh?
Like the crowd was singing. You're not allowed to swear, are you? But yeah, the Neil Warnock reference, it was just like that horrible, you know, Neil Warnock style manager, someone who's going to manage Cardiff or Millwall, and he'll go down that route. And I didn't appreciate him at all, how he wasn't sent off. That bloke set all the issues that came up after, and it was just idiotic. He lost his head, probably lost his team the playoffs, because they were in a good position, you know, at the time. They were looking all right and looking dangerous, and he just disrupted the game for them. Just an absolute, idiot. Yeah, he'll be remembered now, and hopefully we won't have to play him for a few years, but I think he let himself down and he let his team down last night.
I think they kind of created this kind of desperate false narrative after the first game to try and rile the Sheffield United players up more than anything. Like Mikey said, this kind of Forest are overconfident, Forest think they're through thing, which is nonsense. I mean, any Forest fan who's ever seen Forest in the playoffs wouldn't believe they were through, perhaps even now, some of them. So yeah, I thought it was all a bit false and a bit silly. I wanted to ask about the referee and what you thought of him. I mean, Greg said you should have sent him off. Maybe you should. I thought the ref had a really good game. He let it go. I saw a lot of Forest fans, or a few Forest fans, were negative about it. Oliver. The only thing that wound me up about it was Brennan Johnson got some real treatment from Norrington Davies, and he should have booked him sooner. But what did you make of it, Greg? The ref's performance?
Not as good as your scoring for him.
That's fine.
Letting it go's all right, as long as he's letting it go because nothing's happened. The amount of fouls on Johnson that seemed to... I'm sure the referees have got this big group where they say, watch Brennan Johnson, he dives. And he doesn't dive at the minute. He's not like the biggest guy, is he? If he gets hit, he's going to go over. And why they don't just keep... Why he needs to be given these fouls. So, yeah, they frustrated me, especially in the first half. But it's high tension, isn't it? And, yeah, how Heckingbottom should have been sent off. I think that was the biggest mistake. But at least it didn't cost us. I'd give him a 2 out of 5 if I was assessing it.
I thought it made for good drama, though. Mikey, you can agree with Greg and tell me I'm an idiot, but for a spectacle, not that Greg called me I'm an idiot, I might have overbreak that, but the spectacle of creating a good game and not blow. Like you watch Champions League football, there's a foul every 30 seconds because Pepe's broken a fingernail for Real Madrid whenever he was playing. I'd much rather have a game that was a bit more 1970s style, Mikey. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I thought he did all right. The ref, I'm with you, Matt. I think I'd rather a ref let it go than blow up every 2 minutes and make it a fragmented stop-start game. I will say, though, and somebody's put in the comments, I think quite rightly, how Jack Robinson stayed on that pitch is beyond me, because I clearly remember 4 or 5 yellow cards, and I think he dived as well to try and get a penalty near the end. So, rules say...
Was that handball? I thought was it handball? He tried to punch it in the net or something. Was that Robinson?
Might have been. I remember at the end when he tried to chuck himself to the floor, I just thought, he was being overly sort of soft with certain players. But yeah, I agree with the Brennan Johnson thing as well. He runs at such pace and he's so dynamic. Not once have I thought he has deliberately chucked himself to the floor. He might have gone down with a bit of contact, but, at the top level, you usually get this, those sort of things. And I guess my worry is, and I don't know whether we're going to talk about this, we've got VAR for the final. That scares the life out of me, to be perfectly honest with you. So I don't know what to think about that. I need to be convinced either way. But I thought the ref in general had a half-decent game yesterday. But I guess my worry is that when you've got VAR, from what I see, refs refrain from giving some decisions and just leave it to that fourth official, in the back. And I don't like that at all. Just referee the game, and any clear and obvious errors we can overturn. But I don't want to go to Wembley and see that VAR up on the screen 7 or 8 times, and every goal's disputed, and we wait around for 2-3 minutes. And I'm probably talking about something that's not going to happen, but that worries me, and I think it's. It could go in our favour. It could not go in our favour. I don't know, but that just does worry me a little bit. But the ref did all right. I've seen worse.
Yeah, it's pros and cons on there. I mean, VAR would give you would hope would give Brennan Johnson a few more penalties, but then maybe Sheffield United get a penalty for that Garner Berger incident in the first half at Bramall Lane when it's 0-0. I don't know. We just have to wait and see, I guess, don't we? Second half, I've written here what the hell happened. It did transcend. It did kind of descend into Houghton-style football for a while. Was that just nerves and pressure, Greg, or do we have to make allowances for just the scenario, the pressure that's on the players on that occasion?
Yeah, they just couldn't have scored at a more perfect time for them, could they? Straight out the gates, and that just, you knew then that pressure, the adrenaline it gives their players, and they've got an extra bit of juice then in them, and it was hard, wasn't it? It was so hard, and weirdly just like a relief to get to extra time, thinking they were going to score another. They had that momentum, didn't they? And they had something that none of us saw in the first leg. So it was a completely different game, and one that it really could have gone the other way. But like I say, scored at the perfect time for them, and luckily for us, just didn't keep it going as long as they needed it to.
I guess, Mikey, it's much easier in the sense to chase, isn't it? When you're Sheffield United and you've got to come out, you've got to play. Forest were caught in a bit of a stick or twist situation, weren't they, trying to sit on a lead? They
had nothing to lose. You're both right. I think they always say 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline in football, which I hate that phrase, but they're probably right. And we saw it last night. So 2-goal lead, 1 half to go. What did they have to lose? They pushed up the pitch 10, 15 yards. They started winning all the second balls. As Greg said, quite rightly, they scored at a perfect time, gave them and their fans momentum. And, you're not human if you don't sort of feel that pressure. So the crowd felt it. You know, I certainly did. The Forest players, you know, were in control of that tie for 3 halves of football, and then in the fourth half of football, we were holding on for dear life. But that's why we love the game. That's why you can never discount anything until the ref blows that final whistle. So it was a really tough half of football. We ground it out. We stayed in it. We showed a lot of heart and character, and we weren't at our best. And I can't remember 3 or 4 passes we strung together for about half an hour. We were really struggling, you know, on the edge of our own box. But as Steve Cooper said, you have to suffer, and we did. So, and we got through it, and we got to extra time, and we won on penalties. So, you know, in this time, you're just going to look at the result. You're not going to remember that. And there's going to be times in the final, unless we go there and absolutely turn up and be devastating, there's going to be times when we're on the back foot. And it's heartening to know that this team has that character to hold on. We could have easily conceded a third or a fourth and then lost it. And then, you know, we could have been having a very different conversation, but they dug deep. And that gives me a lot of belief that when the backs are against the wall, they'll come out fighting. You know, Steve Cook, Joe Worrell, leaders in that team, Ryan Yates. This is where you need those type of players to dig in. And they did just that. And I was proud of them last night, that second half especially. So it was tough.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there's 2 ways to look at it, Greg, isn't there? Does it bode well that they've played badly and they've had that experience and they've come through it? Or does it strike a note of caution that they've not folded under the pressure, but they've had a spell where they've just not played at all well?
They did something that previous generations' teams haven't done, and they held it together just enough. We didn't play well after playing so well in the first leg, where 2-1 was just like didn't reflect how good we were. We held on and we got through it when we were shattered and we were playing poorly and things weren't going our way. But we got there, and that gives us so much confidence for Wembley. And like I say, 11 days makes such a difference now. If it was on Sunday, I'd be worried, but these players, they're fit anyway. We're one of the fittest teams in the Championship. And with that many days to get well now and prepared, I'm really confident. When Mikey just spoke about heart, I had to check my smartwatch this morning. I think 10 p.m. it was like 135 beats per minute or something ridiculous. So let's just hope Wembley's not that excruciating.
Yeah, it did my blood pressure no good for someone who's already on medication. That was not fun. Did you guys spot? There's a couple of bits of man management that I spotted that I thought were really good. Cooper at half time kept the players on the pitch and didn't let them go down the tunnel at the same time as the Sheffield United players. It could have backfired because they were awful second half. But I thought that was really clever. And Graben in particular, but a bit of Taylor as well, talking to players at full time. I thought Graben was brilliant. I don't know if you spotted this. He was in Keenan Davies' ear before he came on, before extra time. And I think things like that, do you think they make that little 1% difference, Mikey, between defeat and victory?
I do, and I didn't spot either of them, to be honest with you. I think I was getting a drink at half time. But it doesn't surprise me about Graben being the leader that he is. You know, he can't have that influence on the pitch, but he can certainly have it off the pitch. So that doesn't surprise me at all. And that's why he's club captain, because he's obviously very respected and people listen to him. So it is those little fine details. So Cooper and his staff know these players inside out. They've been working with them for almost a season now. So you have to trust, I think he says trust the process. It's a bit corny, but I know what he means. You have to trust his thought process and his thinking. And if he thinks that something like that, or encouraging his senior players that are out injured to take a bit more responsibility in terms of communication, you have to trust that that's the right thing to do. And, you know, results and performances and the feel-good factor around the city all bouncing off each other, it backs it up. So I wasn't aware of that, Matt, actually, but that sounds brilliant to me. And it's those little things that might make all the difference. So, yeah, long may it continue.
Yeah, because you get some managers who don't want injured players around, and they say actually actively stay away. But I think it's really good of Cooper to have them in there. Greg, have you seen Samba's water bottle talking small details?
Yeah,
I mean, credit
Probably.
to Samba and Danny Alcock, the goalkeeping coach, who I know a little bit from previous career when he was playing. He was a really good non-league keeper, but nice touch, isn't it? That preparation, and it paid off.
Weirdly, we saw his water bottle with like a full-on towel wrapped around it, about that big, and I thought at the time it was a bit strange. And I'm sure Huddersfield now will all be in their heads going, "Oh, we're going to do it the way that we don't usually do it." So how he got that much preparation from players that take, well, some of them won't take a penalty for years, will they? So brilliant that they got it to that, and it just shows the finer details. That's what won it us, maybe when he stood still for the second one and just held out his like.
Well, yeah, and it said "stand up" on the bottle, didn't it?
It's like his titanium arm just there, just unbelievable. I don't think I could bring myself to like watch the game again sober, but those penalties will just be on repeat now for the next few days.
Oh yeah, I've got to watch penalties again. I can't watch the whole game again, apart from Brennan's goal, but the penalties. Let's talk about the end then. The pitch invasion. I'm not against it. A lot of fans would mock people for going on the pitch. I think the emotion of the occasion lets people go on, but we have to reference what happened with Billy Sharp. Being careful what we say legally. Someone's been arrested. It's not a good thing, is it, Mikey? It damages the reputation of the football club through the actions of one stupid individual.
Yeah, and I won't go on too much about it because it doesn't deserve the attention that he's obviously trying to get. That one idiot spoiling it for everybody. There's always, you see pitch invasions around the world and you get flares and everything like that. And I know that it's not supposed to happen, but the raw emotion that was at that ground last night, I was always expecting a pitch invasion if we got through, which we did. And there's always one idiot that spoils it. So let's hope, appropriate action is taken, and, that shouldn't represent us as a club or as a fan base or just the footballing community. I think, 99.9% of football fans are genuinely cool people, regardless of who they support. It always just takes one idiot to do something like that. So just make sure that he gets what's coming to him, basically, and let's not let it taint or sour what was just an incredible night, really.
Have you seen Billy Sharp's statement, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a lovely bloke, isn't he? When he played for us, obviously at the time he had his charity for his son, and I remember buying one of his T-shirts for his charity, and everything he's always said about us, even though he was only here for like a short season, wasn't he? He's always spoke with such like fondness to us. He doesn't like Derby, and I love that about him. And I feel like for a Sheffield United legend to have such an affinity with our fans, you've got to love and respect him. And even that statement when he could have really gone bitter and horrible about it, because it was dangerous, wasn't it? It was, well, I'd say, but he had so much class in his statement, and I just thought, what a lovely bloke. And I've seen a few fans thinking that they're going to try and do something now, whether they get some money together for a charity of his choice or something. I think that's a really nice idea, and it should show that it was one absolute moron who's going to pay for it. I mean, this guy's probably lost his, well, God knows now what's going to happen to him. You can only see what happened to the Leicester lad who did it. But like, to Billy Sharp, you can only apologise and hope he's okay, but just know that it was one idiot and not the 30,000 that was celebrating with everything that they, 20 odd years of hurt. The other thing is, I just think he not that it matters who it was, but he must have thought it was their manager or something, because that, well, I don't know. I think I've said too much already, haven't I? But let's just hope he pays for it and Billy Sharp's okay. And, like I say, he still found the time after what happened to him to have some nice words about a club, and you've got to respect him for that.
Yeah, I don't want to dwell on it because it's not the story of the night. But you have to recognise it. It did put a dampener on things. It's disappointing to see. I bet Sky Sports News are reporting on it ahead of the goals, probably, but that's the way it is.
One thing I will say as well, like separately to that, regarding the pitch invasion, I know the club were concerned about it after the night before with Huddersfield, and I'm sure the EFL had contacted them to ask them to do more, because Huddersfield didn't do anything. I don't even think they had any stewards. So you could see the treble amount of stewards and police in the area. But if we'd have won 4-0 and we'd won at full time, I don't think there would have been that pitch invasion, would they? But the way it happened and the sheer emotion, it just clearly spilt over. And it did look incredible. It shouldn't happen. And the reasons it probably shouldn't have happened is because of what happened to Billy. But I think if there ever is going to be one for a game where you don't actually get promoted yet, I feel like that was almost an exception.
Talking about promotion then, have you both been to Wembley or not?
Yeah, with England.
Yeah, you see, I've always refused to go because I only ever want to go and watch Forest at Wembley, unless it was the Euros final or something like that. But I'm not paying £1,500 for a ticket like my electrician did. Couldn't believe he paid that. But yeah, Wembley. How are you feeling about it, Greg?
Excited. I think it's going to be emotional. It'll be special. Trains prices are going ridiculous already. Hotels are booking up. Praying that Huddersfield don't sell all their tickets so we get a few more, because we've all got friends and family who are desperate to go that haven't necessarily got the points or what have you. But I just think it'll be an incredible occasion, and I genuinely think that we will do it as well. Last night was the one for me when that last-minute equaliser went in against Hull, and my friend turned around to me and says that equaliser's the goal that's going to get us promoted. And I can't stop thinking about that now, especially now we've got rid of Sheffield United, because out of all three of those teams, Sheffield United at Wembley was the one I didn't want. Just can't wait.
I mean, I would really love to rub it into Sheffield United by signing Sander Berge in the summer. I thought he was really good. I'd take Gibbs White as well. I know he missed the penalty, but they've got some decent players. We have to give them due credit, don't we, Mikey? They had some high quality performers over the tie.
They do, yeah. That Gibbs White is a serious footballer. I think he's on loan from Wolves, isn't he? I'm not sure how he can't get around their sort of squad. But if there's any chance we can perhaps nick him if we went up, that'd be fantastic. And Sander Berge went for what, 20 million or something. So he's obviously highly played and highly valued, and you saw that last night. He's a very good player. But going back to Wembley, I've been before, but with England and NFL, and I remember saying to a friend of mine, wouldn't it be amazing if Forest were here, just in a playoff final or a cup semi-final or something like that, and looking out onto Wembley Way through those big massive glass, if anybody who's in, you can see those massive glass when you can see it across all of Wembley Way and people walking up. And I just remember thinking, wow, if Forest ever got here, it'd be incredible. I never really thought we would. So the fact that a week on Sunday, our team, representing our city is going to take over, that part of London, because there'll be more Forest fans there than Huddersfield, I guarantee it. It's just incredible. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really positive. I agree with Greg. Sheffield United, we somehow got through that. And if we can get through that, we can beat Huddersfield in a one-off game. Of course we can. We just need to turn up. I think we've got better players, quicker, faster, more experience. Of course, it's who turns up on the day, but the fact that we're in the mix, in the conversation, is incredible. So yeah, I'm really proud of them. We just have that one more step to go, and everybody just needs to be positive, get behind the lads. And can I say one more thing as well? When it went 2-1 yesterday, that is one of the loudest crowds I've heard for about 10 minutes at the City Ground, and we were struggling, and everybody recognised it, and that's what I reckon. That's part of what got them through, because Steve Cook saying his legs have gone, Garner was knackered. They were running on fumes, and the crowd was just screaming at them, "Come on, we can do this!" And the passion there, and we're going to need that again. I think Wembley, big pitch. There's going to be some tired legs. It might come down to those fine margins. Sound like Wolverton now, don't I? But the crowd can play a massive part in that, and I can't wait, Matt. Can't wait.
Is that your computer beeping, Mikey?
I think it might be mine. Yes. Apologies.
Well, you're muted now.
That's right. Someone who should be at work.
Someone who should be at work. Well, yeah, we all should. Well, you shouldn't, Greg. You're
I'm fine.
Well, we are finishing now anyway. Last question to each of us. Where did last night rank in terms of games watching Forest, Greg?
The best. Yeah, it was the best for me. I remember when we got promoted and I was like young. What was it, 98? And but it's different when you're a kid. You don't fully appreciate the heartache and the year after year of disappointment. And when that goal went in and when we won it on penalties, and I've never seen emotion like that in our ground, never. And without doubt, it was the best City ground night I've ever seen for me.
Yeah, me too. I like Greg says, I remember the Yeovil game was fun, but it was to get out of League One.
Yeah.
And it's just the torture of the playoffs, isn't it? We've all been, well, I went to all the home games, I didn't go to any of the away games, but all those games where we lost, absolutely horrific. So yeah, last night was top for me as well. Mikey, what about you?
Yeah, I probably have to agree. I think I remember the Yeovil game, and it was a little bit unexpected, to be honest with you. I didn't expect to. There's my computer again.
You have to mute you a minute.
No, sorry. I didn't expect to go up that day, so it was almost like a pleasant surprise. But yesterday, we're confident. The atmosphere was incredible. I think, other than maybe a couple of derby games back in the day, when Paul Hart's team or whatever, which the atmosphere on an evening at the City Ground against them lot is always crazy. It's definitely up there. I'm still on an emotional high, so it's easy probably for me to say it was the best. When I come down a little bit and reflect on it, I'll probably still say that it was amazing. The crowd were insane. Like some of the, there was chanting in every stand. People stood up on their feet, screaming. It was incredible, and it got us over the line. And we showed what we were about yesterday as a fan base. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, it certainly was a good note to end on. I don't know if we've done last night justice, because I don't know if we can, but we tried our best. So hopefully everyone who's watched along or listened to this enjoyed us. And as ever, if you did, do like and subscribe on YouTube, Apple, SoundCloud, Spotify, whatever podcast platforms there are. It all helps us anyway. Greg, thank you very much.
Bro, speak to you after Wembley, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe before. I don't know what my plans are. Well, we're back on Monday, I should say. We'll do more of this with David Prutton and another former Forest player who's lined up after Marlon Harewood joined us on Monday. I have to say sorry to Mikey. I booted Mikey off to get Marlon on, so that was poor form. But Mikey, thank you very much for today.
It's all right, mate. I forgive you. Thank you for asking me to come on, and I hope everybody's enjoyed it who's sort of listened and watched along. It was a great night, and let's hope we have one more in a week and a bit's time.
Yeah, absolutely. Do join us on Monday. Thanks very much again, and we shall see you soon.